getting the most out of your hi-hat. The hi-hat is such a fun and interesting instrument. We can get so many tones, so many timbres, so many volumes, so many different shades and colors out of the sounds of the hi-hat. And I think so many beginners kind of overlook that. I think this is something that's great to work on from some of your first grooves instead of just waiting till you're a little more advanced to try it. Try it out. These are some things that you may be doing naturally anyways. So when I say different sounds, different volumes, different textures out of the hi-hat, what do I mean? Well, the first grooves we've learned, let's just take 8th note groove number 2. And actually, let's take 16th groove number 2, and let's just play it. 3E and a 4E and a. Okay, that can tend to sound a little robotic. Sometimes that's what you want, but sometimes you want a little bit more feeling into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about different ways to play the hi-hat. And the best way to think about that to me is how you're hitting the hi-hat and where you're hitting the hi-hat, okay? So that groove, if you noticed, you can see my hi-hat here. You'll notice let me move that there so you can see it a little better. You'll notice that groove, I was just playing the tip of the stick of the hi-hat on the shoulder, the bow of the cymbal, okay? I was playing that the whole time. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a tip, 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 tip. Okay? That gives you a nice articulate light sound, the tip of the stick on the shoulder of the hi-hat, or the bow of the hi-hat, as some will call it. Let's try and take our stick. So look at my hand, look at my wrist. This is the angle that I was hitting the hi-hat at before. I'm just going to take this joint here, this wrist, and I'm going to move it lower, okay? So I'm not moving forward, back. I'm just moving this part lower. Now, the shoulder of the stick is hitting the edge of the hi-hat. Let me remove this cymbal. Okay. The shoulder is hitting the edge of the hi-hat. This gives you a chunkier, thicker, more full sound. This versus this. Hear the difference? Let's play a groove with that. Okay? Same groove, but it sounds a little bit different. It has a little bit different energy to it because we're using the shoulder of the stick on the edge of the hi-hat. Okay? There's many variations of just the tip and just the shoulder. Okay? So we could take the tip. We don't need to just necessarily play this part of the cymbal, although this is generally where we will play. Let's move it closer to this part of the cymbal, the inside, which is called the bell. This part that's going up is called the bell. You'll get a smaller sound on the hi-hat and a little more high-pitched. Listen to how that sounds. A little further out. A little further out. Little further out. Okay, so experiment with that. Depending on where you play the tip of the stick on the hi-hat, you'll get a different sound. Same thing with the shoulder of the stick. Generally, we'll play this thicker part of the stick here, but for certain situations, you may want to lean up a little more or choke up a little bit more. Maybe not choke up on the stick, but push the stick up a little bit more. Gives you a little bit different sound. Generally, we'll just stay around here, though, but that gives you a couple ideas of what to do. Where it gets really exciting is when we start combining these sounds on the hi-hat. So we're not even talking about open sounds or step hi-hats. Again, open is this. Step hi-hat, or the chick sound, is that. We're not even talking about adding those yet. We're just talking about it with the hi-hat closed, with our foot on the pedal, and hitting different parts of the cymbal. So let's look at this motion here. And I'm actually going to remove one more cymbal so I can make sure you guys can see this clearly. So let's look at this motion here. With the tip of the stick, we lift our wrist kind of up. We're keeping our hand flat, and we're bouncing off the top of the cymbal. With the shoulder of the stick, boop, we just move that down. It's kind of like there's an invisible string connected to this part, this joint on your wrist. Okay? That's what's changing it. So when we're down here, we have that full sound. Here, a little thinner, but a little more articulate sound. Let's combine the two. So I still want you to play 16th notes, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. But on beat 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're going to move our wrist down, and we're going to play with the shoulder of the stick, and then we're just going to bring it up for all the other notes. So this is what the motion will be. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, down, up, 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 down, up, 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 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay? So that gives you a little fuller sound on 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're accenting the quarter note, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you're playing 16th notes. Okay? Let's take that now. The last beat, I think I played an 8th note, and that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to accent the 8th notes. 1, E, and a. 2, E, and a. 3, E, and a. Down, up, down, up. I'm really exaggerating this motion, and when you start, you should exaggerate this motion too. When you get faster and when you get more comfortable, your hand's not going to move quite this much, but you should get down this exaggerated motion. When you go faster, the motion will be less, but you'll still be able to get those different sounds out of the hi-hat. All right, let's try this. Same thing, 16th notes. 1, E, and a. 2, E, and a. Shoulder, tip, shoulder, tip, shoulder, tip, shoulder, tip. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The whole time, I'm not focusing necessarily on what's happening here. I'm focusing on this part with my mind and my eyes. I'm looking at it. I'm watching my wrist go down, up, down, up. 1, E, and a. 2, E, and a. 3, E, and a. 4, E, and a. You may have to play it that slow at first to get it. Okay, so that is playing an 8th note accent pattern. This naturally is an accent. It's naturally louder than this. This is playing an 8th note accent pattern. Or the 8th notes are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But the notes in between are all unaccented notes. They're just with the tip. All right? So try that. Take a few grooves. Really, don't even worry about what your bass drum and your snare drum are playing. Play a few grooves and focus on what your hi-hat is playing. Let me play those for you a little bit faster so you can hear it, okay? All tip. All shoulder. Okay, now the shoulder on the quarter note. Eighth nose. Okay, this little idea of just the tip versus the shoulder of the stick is what will really take some of your grooves from sounding a little robotic to really giving them personality, giving them some groove, giving them some flow. It's something that's little, but it's extremely important, and it makes a big difference, a huge impact on the overall sound of the groove or the overall sound of your playing. Once you're comfortable with that, you don't even need to just play them on 1 and 2 and or 1 E and a 2 E and a. You can add them in where you want. Sometimes you may just want to put in an accent once in a while, maybe like this. Okay, you'll notice in my playing, I'm moving this hand constantly. It may not look like it's moving all the way up here to down here, but it's moving little by little. Okay, so these are the first 2 sounds on the hi-hat you really need to get a good grasp on. Again, you can move your stick in different parts, find what you like. For some things, you'll play closer to the bell, some a little closer to the edge of the hi-hat, but it really depends. Get to know your own individual hi-hat sound as well. Different cymbals will sound a lot different. Some cymbals will sound hugely different from here to here. Some won't sound all that different at all. It depends on the weight of the cymbal, the thickness, how large they are, the diameter. That really affects it too. But try those first 4 patterns: all tip, all shoulder, 1 E and 1 E and on your fills. Take some time with it. Let me know what you think. Link a comment below. Let's take it one step further now. I'd just like to take a quick minute to thank you for watching this videos and some of the other videos that I've put out. If you find this content useful, helpful, or informational, please subscribe to this channel and share it with a friend. That helps me more than you could know. Seeing as how this is basically a brand new channel, I'm just starting to put up educational content. The more you like, the more you subscribe, and the more you comment down below, the more that will help me. Thank you so much. And as always, if you need any one-on-one instruction, feel free to reach out. Let's get back to the video. The further step on this, the further application, if you will, we can take this, instead of playing on the hi-hat, we can move it over to the ride. But the difference is, instead of hitting the shoulder of the ride with the tip of your, or with the shoulder of your ride, with the edge of your ride with the shoulder of your stick, excuse me, and the tip of your stick, you can do that, and we're going to definitely do that. Let's try the unaccented notes, the tip of the stick here, so the tip of your stick on the shoulder of the cymbal, and the accented notes, the shoulder of your stick on the bell of the cymbal. So not only will you be thinking about up and down like this, you'll be thinking laterally from side to side. Tip of the stick, shoulder of the stick, left, right, or if your setup's reversed, right, left, shoulder, bell, tip. Okay, so let's take that first groove that we did, 16th notes. Now I'm going to accent 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the bell. So it'll be 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and bell, tip, 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 bell, tip, 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 bell, tip, 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 bell, tip, tip, tip. A little faster. Okay, totally different sound than this. Let's try the bell on the 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and all the other ones are going to be tip of the stick, shoulder of the cymbal. Let's play a groove with 8th notes now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but I'm going to accent the quarters. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bell tip, bell tip, bell tip, bell tip, bell tip, bell tip, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and count along. Okay, hopefully you could see that pretty well. Then once you're comfortable with that, like I said, you could try it with eighth note grooves, quarter note grooves. You could try it on the upbeat. That sounds really cool. Well, on the upbeat, I mean 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so take that slow at first. You may just need to sit there, look at your hand, look at your arm, and literally do this. Say it out loud. That's a huge, huge help. I can't tell you how big of a help this is for your body to learn this motion. Bell, tip, bell, tip, bell, tip, bell, tip. This slow, or 16th notes. Bell, tip, 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 bell, tip, tip, tip. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and so on. Then once you get comfortable, it's not that tricky to put in the bell at will. All right, so take your time with that. Go back, make sure you're really counting along when I'm playing these examples for you as well. Take your time to do that. That's really important. Even if you don't know what's going on with the bass drum and the snare drum, even if I'm playing something that may be out of your reach now, it won't be forever. Keep following along these lessons and you'll get them. But maybe you don't know exactly what I'm doing. Maybe you don't know exactly what I'm doing there. It's okay. Keep counting. Just listen and make sure you're listening and counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Doesn't matter if it's complicated or simple. Count. Be aware of your body. Be aware of where your arms are, the motion you're making. The motion will dictate the sound. That's a really important thing, and maybe I should have said that at the beginning. The motion will dictate the sound. This motion dictates the sound. This motion dictates the sound. Motion dictates sound. Really important. I figured I would tack this little part on at the end. I'm just going to play for you. I'm working on this song with one of the groups I'm in currently. And it's a little bit complicated. There's a lot of parts to it. But what I want you to focus on is where I'm hitting the ride cymbal and where I'm hitting the hi-hat. It's kind of a Latin pop type thing. So it's nothing that we've gone over yet on this channel. But just focus on how many different sounds I'm getting out of the hi-hat. There are going to be some opens, which we haven't worked on yet, but just know that we're getting a lot of sounds out of the hi-hat, shoulder, tip, bell, and bow or shoulder of the cymbal. I know it's confusing. Shoulder of the stick, shoulder of the cymbal, two different things. But just listen to how this sounds. So even though what I was playing was pretty complicated there, you could see the options and the amazing sounds you can get with it just from these two sounds. Shoulder, tip, tip, shoulder. Especially when I was playing that open-handed groove and playing the snare drum here with this hand. Just the sounds I'm getting from these two cymbals alone are killer. And you can notice my left hand is doing the same thing, that same motion to play down here. I'm lowering it here, okay? Just because we're playing it with our right hand doesn't mean we can't play it with our left hand. So that's kind of a further study, but I just wanted to show you that so you could really see, once you get a little bit more comfortable with this, the implications and what it can develop into. There's some absolutely phenomenal stuff and some phenomenal sounds you can get out of the hi-hat and the ride cymbal. Take your time with it and have some fun. Take whatever you play on the hi-hat, move it over to the ride cymbal, get comfortable with it, get comfortable with adapting the motions on the hi-hat to the ride cymbal. Even though they're not a one-for-one comparison, they're not exactly the same, the idea works. You can take the accent patterns on the hi-hat and adapt them for the ride cymbal. Please try that. Let me know what you think. If this was confusing at all or didn't make sense or it needs further clarification, please drop a comment. Let me know or reach out. If it worked out great for you, let me know that too. I really appreciate your feedback. Thanks so much, guys. Okay, guys, so I hope that little lesson on hi-hat technique, how to get some different sounds out of the hi-hat, really helped you. Take that, take it slow, apply it to the grooves you already know. Hopefully it'll be inspiring to you and you can find some new grooves that you otherwise wouldn't think of with it. Hopefully you could take those grooves from the hi-hat, use the same idea, move it to the ride like we talked about. If you'd like to study with me, if you'd like to get some more personalized one-on-one instruction, please let me know. You can reach out to me on Instagram, The Pro Drummer. You can find me on my website, www.theprodrummer.com, or email me at vince@theprodrummer. I'd be happy to help you out. In the meantime, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out if you subscribe to this channel. That way you'll also see all the new lessons and videos, and I hope you find the content educational and informative and hopefully a little fun too. Anyways, until next time, this is Vince. Hope you have a great week. Talk to you guys soon.